All right, check 1 2 1 2 check 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 test. All right, there we go. We are live now, and back to me. A couple of things. First of all, where's my tea? Right here. First of all, no questions on VFR weather, anything having to do with VFR weather or airspace. That includes altitude questions, heading questions, that includes regulatory type questions. Those things are going to be things that we will not cover because we haven't gotten there yet. So those are going to be right out, okay? Other questions? Steph?
I forget, do we need to know moisture in weather or no?
You're going to need to know moisture because we talked about that. Going to need to know, how does something become unstable? I have assembled approximately 134 questions on this lovely, lovely board that we can actually just go through here and just go through a bunch of just practice questions and just kind of blast through some stuff, if y'all want to do that. Or we can go to questions that you brought with you. So here's the thing. We're here for 2 hours. It's up to you. It is completely up to you. Now, of course, when I put this together, I never imagined we would do all 134 questions. So just so you know, all I did is I just pulled a sampling from each of the sections that you're going to be doing tomorrow.
Can we go through these as a
What's that?
Can we go through these as a class?
That's what it's for.
Okay.
Yes, dear.
So what if we did like some questions went along on this, and then if there was something or a subject that someone had a question about, then we just ask them.
That's fine with me as well, Story.
Okay, when we're done with this class and let's say we didn't finish all the questions, can we like go through it again and like finish up the questions?
They're on Prepware Online, and they are available to you.
Okay, those.
Uh-huh. Okay. So, but don't look at them right now. Don't clog your minds with these right now. We'll just go through these here as time allows. Now, one thing that I do want to do before we go through here is to make sure. Now, again, here's the thing. This is what I talked about on the very first day of class. Harris, do me a big favor. Pass these out if you would, please. You can get help if you'd like. Is this: you would not really think that studying on how to be a pilot and studying on how to pass the test would be two different animals. Well, sadly, they kind of are, because you've got preparing to take a multiple guess government test, and you have thrown in there, like, you know, it's kind of nutty, but what is stuff that you need to know to become a pilot? Yeah, they have names. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 Try to hand them out, Harris, to the people that they actually belong to. That would be lovely. Lovely. Okay. So, again, studying to become a pilot, studying to pass the test. Kind of two different animals. What we're doing today is test prep. This is studying to pass the test. You will have weight and balance questions tomorrow, but they will not be the lion's share of this examination. I am going to have, the way that I'm going to do this is, of those categories that we have gone through, I'm going to divide those questions equally amongst those sections. So let's say that we have 6 questions on basic aerodynamics, 6 questions on systems, 6 questions on aircraft performance, 6 questions on weather, 6 questions on the airport operations, in so much as they apply to human factors, okay? 6 questions on regulations, and it may be 7. It's whatever that number turns out ultimately to be. So that's going to kind of be the plan. The reason I bring that up is that we could spend 2 hours on weight and balance in here. However, I don't know that that's going to be the best use of your time for 6, maybe 7 questions on that exam tomorrow. Now, the other thing is, as you have begun to study for this, you can see the enormity of the task at hand. There's a lot of questions. Wait till the spring. That's when things really get thick. Okay? This is why every day your head has to be in aeronautics. Because if you think you're just going to be able just to pick the ball up after a couple of weeks and just be right where you were, that's probably not going to happen. Cooper? That is correct. You're going to be doing that. You're going to be doing that in May. There will be a final in here. Okay, there will be a final in here, but it is going to be. You're going to be going. I will be taking you to Grand Junction prior to finals week, so that we can get this test out before everybody scatters for the summer. Because you know what happens? Everybody has the best of intentions. Oh, I'm going to get right to Grand Junction and get that done. Then guess what? They come back at the fall semester and they haven't taken the test. Now it's like, oh, I don't know if I want to. It's so hard. Well, let me tell you something. Y'all have worked your butts off for an entire year of school, and to not walk away with that form of industry certification? Come on now. Yes, dear.
I have a question.
I have an answer. Let's see if they match.
Okay. So for the test in May, will that be a graded thing, or will that only be with the FAA?
The graded examination will be your ultimate final in here. And here's how this is going to work. May is going to be a busy month for you guys, because you are going to have a final on second semester, okay, which is going to be part of this. But you have to be prepared for that before the final to do well on the test in Grand Junction, because we're not waiting until after the final to go to Grand Junction. You are going to be prepared in May, before finals week, to go to Grand Junction and take this test. So what does that mean? That means we have to be prepared for all of the stuff that we're going to cover in the second semester, plus we're going to add back in all the stuff that we're doing right now. And that's going to be the biggie. And that is the class final of this class. And my expectation is that everybody gets a 90 or better. Because everybody that gets a 90 or better on the actual final thing that we do in here prior to the finals, that's when you get my signature in your logbooks. That's when we go to Grand Junction. That's when you are slobbering dogs, ready to take this test. Okay? That's what we're going to be. We're going to be ready. Study groups, study groups, study groups, study groups. You can tell by now that the way to be successful in this class is with a study group. Now, is that 2 people? Is that 3 people? Is that 6 people? Is that 10 people? That's up to you. I don't sit here. I'm not a matchmaker. But I can tell you, the more you work together, the better you will do. Yes, dear.
So about back to weight and balance kind of with this.
Okay.
Do we know what happens with us on this test or quiz, pop quiz?
What do you mean?
Like, how do we know what we got? Like, how well we did
On what?
the pop quiz?
We're going to go over that first thing.
Okay, and another question.
Yes.
So, if they're not the weight and balance questions on there tomorrow, there won't be as many as the other questions, correct?
That is correct.
And there will all be from the prepware studies.
That is correct.
Okay. So, like, all these questions are going to be the exact same ones that we're seeing in prepware.
That is correct.
Okay.
Because where do I get these questions?
Prepware.
That's right. Diego. Okay. Well, that's awful. Follow along in your hymnal there with Gavin. Okay? All right. Any other questions about the final tomorrow? First of all, let me also take this opportunity to say to you that are joining me here live and getting to take advantage of Tyler's sweetness, and I mean that on several levels. Thank you for coming in. Okay? So again, that's pretty awesome. And there was much love here in the aerodrome. All right. Any other questions about the quiz tomorrow? Test, final, whatever that deal is we're doing. Remember, tomorrow, sterile environment. You're going to be using these calculators right here. Okay, that's what you're going to be using. All phones you give to Big Papi. Okay? All right, all those things come up here. All shut off and all ready to go. No electronics whatsoever. I've had some people say, well, can I just listen to music? No, you can't. Okay. All right. So, any other questions about tomorrow? We will begin at the scheduled time. Is that right? Or no. 8. 8. We did 8 because Cooper said he could be here. That is correct, right? 8. We begin at 8. There it is. We begin at 8 a.m. What's that? Well, we'll save a special seat for him. Okay? So we will begin at 8 o'clock. I am going to give you, at 8 o'clock, I start another clock that gives you 2.5 hours to take this exam. This is big boy and big girl stuff here, kiddos. Okay? Yes, sir.
So if we don't finish in the 2.5 hours, then wherever we are, we just turn it in?
When you start this thing on Prepware tomorrow, the time available will be 180 minutes. No, 150 minutes. 150 minutes. That's how much time. And when you click begin, your timer starts. Your machine shuts off before you're done. That's because you didn't get it done in 2.5 hours. This is the way they do it at the FAA. And time's up. Well, there you go. Okay. Anything else so we can get going? Because right now it is 4:26. Let's go. Okay. Weight and balance on the pop quiz. So, because of the fact that a lot of people seem to memorize really, really well, I wanted to make sure that everybody knew how to do this really. Okay? So let's take a look. Question number 1. And for those of you viewing in at home, I do not have this on any hard copy thing that I can actually show you. So I'll read the question, shall we? Here we are. An aircraft is loaded 175 pounds over max gross weight. If fuel is drained to bring the aircraft within aircraft weight within limits, how much fuel should be drained? What do y'all got? Story. What do you got? Okay, well, grab somebody. Grab one of those. Thank you. Grab one. Okay. All right. So what do you have to know to answer this question? That is correct. Story is wise. 1 gallon of 100 low lead weighs 6 pounds. How much does oil weigh? How much does oil weigh? That is correct. So that's how many gallons? 8 quarts is 2 gallons. Okay, 8 quarts is 2 gallons. That weighs 15 pounds. What does 1 pound weigh? I'm sorry, 1 gallon. 1 gallon. I'm sorry. How much does a pound of feathers weigh? Yes, okay. All right. How much does a gallon of oil weigh? 7.5. How much does a quart of oil weigh? How many quarts are in a gallon? Okay, so 7.5 divided by 4 equals, you've got calculators. Look at that. Let's see what you got. I'm sorry? Nope, not going to be 2. It's got to be under 2, right? 7.5 divided by 4 is? 1.875. There you go. Thank you so much. Okay? That's what a quart of oil weighs. All right. That's what you got to know to answer that question. Good? Here was the answer that I put down. At least 29.17 gallons.
No, I got 29. I got 30. I wrote 29. Bro, 30 gallons is right. It's close. We rounded.
1.1. It kind of can. On the fuel truck, it can. It does to the tenths. In fact, it'll actually do hundredths.
So would that be 30 gallons?
What's that? 30 gallons will work. All right, now, here we go. Number 2.
Wait, is this counting for?
There's no weight.
I'm sorry. Number 2. Balancing.
What?
Balancing. Anyways,
Go ahead.
is this quiz being graded for like a grade?
I haven't decided yet. Because when you're done with these, I'm going to see them. Because right now, what you're doing with these things is you're actually marking whether or not you get the question right or not. This is some integrity here. All right, here we go, guys. Got to go, got to go, got to go. It is 4:30. Question number 2, refer to figures 32 and 33. It's the one that's got the table, not the graph. It is the table. Determine if the airplane weight and balance is within limits. Show the plus minus on both weight and CG. Okay? Where do we begin to solve this problem? Thank you so much. You draw your table. You draw your table, correct? So that's going to be the first thing that you do. All right? So on this, guys, I am not going to go through this entire thing. And the reason I'm not is because I can already tell we could spend the entire 2 hours just on this. But we're going to go through here real quick, but I'll draw the first one out. Okay. Okay, so here's our table, right? Weight times arm equals what? Moment, right? And this moment on this particular figure is what? Divided by 100 or 1,000? Divided by 100. That is your index. Moment divided by 100. Let me pull this up. Why isn't that working? Stand by. Let me get... Let me do this. Come on. I don't know why this isn't working. Why isn't this working? Why isn't this coming up? There, it's starting to. Wow, that is just loading way slow. All right. This is the one we're working with, right? Okay. What's the basic empty weight of this airplane?
2,650 pounds.
Okay, how do we know that? Because it says it right there. Okay. So on this, on our empty weight, 2,015 pounds, right? What's the arm for that? Well, we really don't need to know, do we? Because it gives us the moment. What's the moment for the airplane? 1554. Okay? So what's the next thing we got to know here? Front seat. Front seat. Okay, so front seat we have 425. Hold on. What's the arm? 85. 85 inches. Rear. What do we got? 255 and 121 inches. That is our arm. Do you see that, Cooper? No, do you see it right here? Look right here. See this? You've got one of these. Yeah, you got one. Look right here. Under occupants, you have the arm for the front seat here at the top. You got the arm for the rear right here. Okay? Weight times arm equals moment. Just remember, weight times arm equals moment. All right, what's next? Fuel in the mains. How many gallons? We're going to go 186. 186. What is the arm? 75. Okay, next we have what? We have bagage. Baggage is 20 pounds. Arm is 140. Whoops, this. Good Lord, what is that? Okay, is that it? Is that what we need to know? Okay, now, 425 times 85 is? Cooper, what is 425 times 85? Use your calculator.
36,125.
So, remember, what's our index here? Is 100. So whenever you do these calculations, divide by 100. Then what do you got? 361.25. Good. Next, what do we got? Somebody. Use those calculators. What do we got?
300.
Okay, I got this.
I know what the moment divided by
255 times 121
Uh-huh.
divided by 100.
308.55.
308.55. That is correct. Fuel, 31 gallons in the main. 6 times 31 is 168. Negative, negative, negative. That's not the question I asked. 6 times 31 is 186. 186 times 75 is 139.5. Correct? That's a 9. That's a 9. It's got a little thingy right there. Okay. Okay. Next, baggage. 20 times 140 is 2 times 14 is what, kids? 28. Thank you. 28. Got that? All right. Now, add the column. Add the weight column. Go. Tell me what you got. 2901. 2901. Guys, hold on. Yes.
Okay, so I got the front seat one wrong, but it was the only one that I got wrong. Would I have to mark the whole problem as wrong?
Hold on. Let's see what you got at the bottom. Because if you got that wrong, let's see what you got at the bottom.
I got 22.
This is the problem. The problem that you have is the reason we memorized how to make these tables is because this is where you do your accounting. This is where you keep your weight and balance house in order, is with these things. Okay? Do I need to add my arm column? No. Negative. Don't need to, because all I need that arm for right now is to get my moment. Now, and then we'll talk about something else here in just a second, if we need to get our CG. All right, so what is the moment column? What do we have? Yes, that is correct. 2,391.3. Correct? So now, what do we have? We have our weight, we have our moment. What is it that the question asked? Is it within limits? Where is it? And show the plus minus on both weight and CG. Okay? So, first of all, is this aircraft within limits? Yes. That is correct. It is within limits. How do we know? Okay, so when we look here, what is our weight? Look here.
Our weight is
Look here, guys.
901.
Okay, 2,000, what was the weight? 2,901. All right, so we see where we are here. See that? Oh, that's not going to let me write on that. God dang it. See where we are here? All right, and what did we say our moment is? 2391, right? Is that within this range?
Yes.
That is correct. By the way, what is the CG? 82.43 is correct. Gavin, tell us how you got that. Total moment divided by total weight. What do we have to factor into the total moment? We have to multiply that moment times 100 by whatever the index is, because you want that whole big long hairy number on that thing divided by the weight. That gives you then where your arm is, or CG. Yes, sir.
So let's say you figure out that the weight is overweight by like 20 pounds or something. So then if you go onto this chart and it's 2,000
Are you asking me that question because it shows up on another problem here that we're going to cover here momentarily? Yes. Well, let's get to that one, shall we? Everybody good on this one? Okay, everybody good. Now, basics, basics, basics. Weight times arm equals moment. Another way to express that algebraic equation is total moment divided by total weight equals arm, or CG. That's how that works. So when you're asked to determine the effect of the CG on this is where you get it, right? Weight times arm equals moment. This is what we did in class. It's no different. The only difference is you didn't have a book telling you what the answer was. You had to do it yourself. How many of you got this? How many of you got this correct? Okay. All right. Is everybody, are we good here? Let's go to problem number 3. Problem number 3 here, refer to figure 32 and 33. Determine the airplane weight and balance. Determine the weight and balance condition of this aeroplane. Now, I'm not going to put this one up here. So let's look at this. Again, we know on this, because it's figure 32 and 33, what is the empty weight of this aircraft? 2015. You've got that in your column, right? What do you have for the moment? 1,054, because that's what it shows here on this sheet. So that's what you put on here, right? I can do this. Okay? Now, front seat is what? 280. 280 times 85. Okay? Rear seat, 325. Fuel in the mains, 35 gallons. 210. Oops, you've got auxiliary fuel on here as well, 18 gallons. 108. Baggage. All right, what is the arm for the front seat?
85.
Arm for the rear seats? Fuel, auxiliary, and baggage? All right, now let's take a look here at our moment. We know that the moment of the empty weight of the aircraft is 1,554 because the darn thing tells us that. So what is the moment for the front? 238. What is the moment for the rear? 393.25, right? Okay? What?
Where did you know the 393? What was that?
What is it?
Sorry, I
325 times 121 is 393.25. Hold on, we're not there yet. Okay, now, fuel on the mains. 210 times 75 is 157.5. Fuel for the aux, 18 gallons weighs 108. 108 times 94 equals? Okay, 101.52. Baggage, 42 pounds, correct? Okay. Arm is 140, and our moment there, 58.8. Okay, so now the column under the weight, what do we have? 2,980 pounds. Ding, 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 ding. What does that tell us? Overweight by what? 30. 30 pounds. Max weight on this aircraft is 2950. Says right there under weight condition. Okay? So we're 30 pounds over. Now let's take a look at our moment. Where's our moment? Let's take a look here. If we know that we're right down here, and we say at 2950, the max moment on this should be 2,499, right? See this? So with this, right there, it shows that if we look at that weight range of 2950, that we're over. However, let's think about this. would the CG be out of range for an aircraft 30 pounds overweight? How would we know that? We have to figure what? The CG. What's our CG for this problem? 83.99. Look up here. Well, come on, look up here.
Yeah, I got the CG was in range because of that.
So if you look here, the actual CG is kind of within range even though you're 30 pounds overweight. Now, what was the second question? Second part of this question. Would you fly it?
I said no, but the CG is in
I said no, the weight and the motor out, but the CG is within.
Okay.
No, with an exclamation point.
Okay. Here's what I wrote. It depends.
because it depends on like the condition of it.
Why am I having to make this flight? If this is some form of emergency where I need to get somebody somewhere, and if I've got a long enough runway and the weather conditions are such that it's okay, here's what I'm going to tell you. Overweight is overweight, and it's wrong. However, 30 pounds overweight, that's not very much. Ferry pilots will tell you that they fly those aircraft at 10% over gross. You will never get an aircraft manufacturer to tell you that that's okay. However, these guys do that for a living. So if you think about this, let's round this up. 2,950, let's say 3,000 pounds. If you add 10% to that, what do you got? You got 3,300 on this thing. And they fly those things at 10% over gross all the time. So if you look at that, it is overweight. Would I fly it? I would tell you, as a student pilot, never, ever, ever, because you're overweight. Okay? But the interesting part is that for that weight, it is within CG. So, no, you're absolutely supposed to say no.
I said no, but the CG.
There you go. Beautiful. Okay? Number 4. All right. How many of you, was this a question that made you go, Refer to figures 32 and 33. Upon landing, the front seat passenger departs. Maybe they were scared of you. Okay? That passenger weighed 180 pounds. The rear seat passenger, or a rear seat passenger, weighing 204 pounds says, hey, I'll get up there. How often does this happen, guys? All the time. All the time. You fly somewhere, you're taking somebody somewhere or whatever, rear seat guy gets up into the front seat. That happens all the time. Okay? What effect does this have on the CG if the airplane weighed 2,690 pounds when you landed and the moment with the index of 100 was 226 just prior to the passenger transfer? So what that means is the airplane is landed, this is what it weighed when you landed, and before the transfer, this is what it weighed. And this is the CG when you landed. So what do you have to do on this? Let's think about what you have to do. What is this telling you is going to happen to the CG? It's going to go forward. Okay? What is the answer to the question here? What effect does this have on CG if the airplane does it? The correct answer would be the CG moves forward. Now, what you're going to do as a pilot is solve it, because you have to make sure that it's still within range. Okay? So you have to know that CG is going to move forward. How do we know the CG is going to move forward? How do we know that? That's correct, because now you're replacing weight in the front seat. You're completely removing it from the back, putting a heavier weight in the front. Duh, you're getting more weight moving toward your datum plane. So yes, your CG is going to move forward. Because it didn't say anything about refueling your airplane, didn't say anything about anything else. That's just what this is. Your CG is going to move forward. So what do you have to figure? You've got to figure, what was my CG when I landed? What is the CG now that this 204-pound person is now in the front? Okay? That's what you have to figure. Right? So in order to do that, you've got to know what? You have to know what the weight is when you landed. You have to know what the weight is before you take off. Right? So on the weight side, you go from 2,690 pounds to what? 2,510 pounds. You got to know that first. Okay? Then they also told you that your moment was 2,260 when you landed. What is your moment now? What is your moment now?
Yeah, I know. My work's all scattered. 2,300.
It would, here's what happens. Okay, so here's what happens. First of all, you have to know what the moment was when you landed. You have to know what it is now. If you know what the moment, what your CG is. What was your CG when you landed?
399. Me neither. I have no idea what I wrote down. Yeah. Is it 173? I'm so confused.
Okay, what's your total moment? 226,000, right? Divided by what? 2,690, right? That's your total weight. Total moment divided by total weight gives you CG, 84.01. 84.01 inches. That was your CG when you landed. Okay? Now, you can do this one of two ways. You can solve two problems to see what they are. Here's the whole table for when we land. Here's the whole table for when we take off. And you can do that. Yeah, 84.01 is going to be, okay, so that is your CG on the airplane when you landed. So you can do this now where you have one table here for when you landed to find your CG. You have another table here to say here's what it is now when dude gets out and 204 hops up front. Or you can do it that way. Or you can do it this way. Subtract the difference. So here's what happens. If you know that you are going, that Mr. 180 pounds is getting out, what does that do to your moment? You lose 1.5 tree is what you lose on your moment. On the front here, so when 204 comes up front, you gain 173. The net is a plus 20.4. So you have a plus 20.4. That's the difference in your moment between 180 pounds and 204 pounds, right? Yeah, just nod your heads because it is. Okay? Now what about the back seat? You have vacated 204 pounds out of the back seat. What's the net effect of pulling 204 pounds out of the back seat with a moment arm of with the arm of 121?
So you're saying instead of setting up two whole tables, you just have to edit the weight.
That is correct. You edit the weight and the moment shift because you have a moment shift here.
So you just kind of replace those two sections.
That's all you do. I'm waiting.
So basically, are you saying that if you were to, you would make a chart, and for the front seat you would just say 204?
I'm saying I would do it this way. Let me show you.
That's the one I did, only it's not really that easy.
So here's what I did. If you look at this, here's what I did. This is when I landed. This is when I'm going to take off. Okay, so I figured what my CG was going to be here, and I figured what my CG was going to be here. In order for me to calculate this, here's what I had to do. If 180 pounds goes away at 85 inches, I lose 153 on my moment. Okay? Then, if 204 pounds comes up here at 85, that's plus 173. What's the difference? The difference is a net gain of 20.4 on the moment. My moment has a net gain of 20.4. Then I have to factor in the fact that 204 pounds is no longer in the back seat. So I take this. 204 times 21 is this, 246.84, and that's a negative number because that has to come out because that was in this calculation here. Okay, so that has to come out. So when I do that with the net effect here, 20.4 minus, 246 minus that 20.4, 226.44 goes back into this particular calculation. And this is where I came up with that. So that's how you lose this. You have to go 226.44 off of this to get this. And this is where you get 2033.56. And then you calculate that for your CG. Total moment divided by total weight.
I think I forgot to do the negative.
You've got the numbers.
I've got the numbers.
You've got the
but I
numbers.
forgot to do the negative, so
That's
I
correct.
wrote that in.
That's correct. Do you guys understand how I did this? Now, another way you can do it, if you don't understand how to do the actual net replacement here of your moment, do two tables.
Yeah.
Here's what it is when it landed. Here's what it is when I take off. What's the difference? Yes. Yes.
After all of that, did you get your CG went from 84 inches to 81 inches?
81.01. That is correct. 81.01. So what happens is your CG moves forward how many inches?
I just said 3. I said
3
about
inches.
3.
3 inches. That's exactly what happens. Okay? Guys, how we doing? Okay? Yes. These aren't. These I made up. It's just going to be the ones in the book. That's what they're going to be. But guys, here's the deal. You can't memorize them. I mean, you're going to memorize them for the test tomorrow, but you got to know how to solve the problems. Do you know why? Because when you're out there taking your check ride, your DPE is going to make sure that you know how to do it. And I am darn sure going to make sure that you know how to do it in the oral test prep thing because we're talking about your life here. Okay? So you're going to know how to do these. This would be a good time to learn. You with me? Let's do the next one. Real quick. The next one's not going to take too long. And the very last one, I was really proud of the last one. Remember, guys, I'm doing this. I'm doing these things on an airplane, and I'm trying to kind of remember what these charts say and everything, just to kind of make them work out. I just sort of did this stuff in my head. Well, then before class today, I did these actual problems just to make sure, just so I could show you guys what these are and how they kind of worked out. I hate to throw the genius card out here at you all, but I'm just saying. Okay. All right. 5. 5. Refer to figure 34. 34. 34. This is the graph. What are Mr. R's feelings on the graph? He does not like them. But we have to know how to use them. All right, figure number 5. Calculate the moment of the airplane and determine the category, which category is applicable. All right. What is our basic empty weight? 1350. 1350. We're on a different one, right? Guys, are we really? Hang on. Look here. Okay, this is this one. This is the one that we're working on here right now, right? Okay, the empty weight? Isn't it given to you? There you go. Because it's given to you in the problem. Thank you. Okay. So, number 5. Look at it again. Calculate the moment of the airplane. Determine the category. Which category is applicable? You've got your little table, just like you have over here. You got your little table. Okay, you've looked over here, now we're ready to go. 1350, what's the moment? 51.5. What is your moment index on this particular figure? Divided by 1,000. Don't get confused. It's divided by 1,000. Okay? Front seat, what do we got? 1375. Rear, what do we got? Fuel, what do we got? 216. How do we get that? That is correct. 36 times 6. Oil, what do we got? How many? 15 pounds. 15 pounds of oil. Remember, we got to account for the oil, right? Okay? All right. Now, it gives us the moment of the airplane, 51.5. It gives us the moment of 8 quarts of fuel, right? So we have to calculate what? We have to calculate the moment for everything else. And how do we do it? You draw your lines. This is where we draw lines. This, my children, is where I draw the line. Okay? All right, so now, on the front seat, 375. Let's take a look. Here's 350, 360, 370, 380, 390. I didn't put those on there very well. 375 is going to be where? Okay, 375 is going to be between this and this. It's going to be about right there, right? You're going to bring this over to what? Looks like it comes right over here to about right there. Then we do what? Coming straight down here. That looks like about what to me? What'd you get? 14. 14 is correct. That's a little bit too far to the right. We're going to find out. I'm telling you, here's what I got when I did this. Okay, 180 for the rear seat. 180 for the rear. Here's the rear. There's 180. What is it? No. 5. For 5, it's 180. For 5, it's 180. There's 180. Where's the rear? I'm about right there. Okay? Wherever that is. I got 13. Fuel, 216. Fuel, 216 gallons. So if you look at this, 210, 220, I'll go with about 216. About right there, somewhere about right there. I got 10.25. See why I hate these? Okay. All right. So tell me what you got in the weight column. What'd you get in the weight column? 2136 is correct. What did you get on the moment column?
87.65.
I came up with 88.55. 88.55. That's kind of about mid where everybody else is. Okay, 88.55. So we know that the weight is 2,136 pounds. The moment is 88.5. What category is this? Normal. It's normal. It's in the normal category. Is it within the loading range? That is correct. Okay, there you go. Next, 6. Refer to figure 34. Determine the moment with the following data. Also, what is the CG? All right, so with this, 6. All right. So in this, you got the empty weight, 1350, rear, 390. I'm sorry, front 390, rear 200, fuel, standard, capacity. What is that? What's your fuel?
All the way filled up.
What's your fuel? Look at your thing. It says fuel, standard tanks to capacity. What do you get?
You get 38 gallons.
Okay, that is correct. 38 gallons. How do you know that? Because it says it right there. Standard tanks, 38 gallons. Okay? Right there. Standard tanks, 38 gallons. How much does that weigh? How much that weigh? 228, correct? Guys, answer the questions. How much does the fuel weigh? 228, right? Baggage, how much? 90. Oil? 15. What did you get for your total weight? Look. 2273 is correct. On the weight, 2273 is correct. Now, on the moment, what did you get for the moment for the front? I was torn between 14.5 and 14.75. I put 14.5, but I wrote down here it may be 14.75 is kind of where that was. I used 14.5. What about the rear? 14.5. 14.5. Fuel? 11. Baggage? I got 8.5. Oil? Minus 0.2. What'd you get for your total moment? What is it? Gavin, what'd you get? I got 99.8. I came up with 99.8. You guys are very close. If you're within 2 points of what I got here, you're still pretty good. 99.8. What is the CG? For your figure, that would be correct. What'd you get? Okay. How'd you get it? Total moment divided by, okay, all right. For mine, I got 43.906731. Last one, number 7. Number 7. Here we go. What is the maximum? Oh, refer to figure 34. Refer to figure 34. What is the maximum amount of fuel that may be aboard the airplane on takeoff if loaded as follows? What did you get? Story, say what you just said. How much is that? 48 gallons. How much does that weigh? $288. Here's why this is a little bit of a trick question and why I have the little asterisks down there below. Did anybody catch why I had 2 asterisks on that thing below? Drawing attention to the fact that on this particular aircraft an option was the long-range tanks, and the long-range tanks give you 48 gallons. Now, how many of you actually did the math to see, does that actually work? Did it? Yes, it does. It actually does work. So when you do that, that was the one that I was kind of guessing on. But when you do that, your weight, because the max you can put on there is 288 pounds with the long-range tanks. That's it. 48 gallons. The weight, 2,253. The moment is about what? I got 98.8. That's pretty close. I got 98.8. That airplane will fly. Okay? All right. There you go. Go. What's that? No, I said no. Stop it. No, I'm kidding. Yes, go.
Okay. What again is torque effect?
Anybody?
Is that P factor though? Is that what P factor is? Because I don't know that. Yeah. Which causes left turning tendencies. Okay. Cool.
Torque has to do with what? You have the propeller spinning. Let's say from the pilot side, the propeller is spinning to the right. What is it wanting to do to the airplane when it's spinning to the right? It's wanting to spin to the left. That torque of just the propeller itself going clockwise makes the engine want to go counterclockwise. That is torque. Do you remember that example of the water bottle?
Yes. But P factor is
P factor is what?
the same thing?
Negative. It is not. Because here's what you have with torque. What you have with torque is this.
Okay.
This is what you have with torque. What is P factor?
When it grabs more.
What is it? What is P factor? Look it up. Look up the definition of it. Tell me what gyroscopic precession is. Tell me what the difference between P factor and gyroscopic precession is.
Gyroscopic precession is the phenomenon of the axis of a spinning object describes a cone in space when an external torque is applied to it. The phenomenon is commonly seen in a spinning horizontal while rotating object when undergoing precession. So like when it goes like this.
So here's what happens. Here's your airplane sitting like this. Here's Dusty sitting just like this. Your airplane is spinning like this. When you get enough airspeed that you can rotate like this, you're applying a force right here to this propeller. So this spinning disc, you're putting a force to this spinning disc. Where do you notice the effect? 90 degrees downrange. So when you're putting this torque effect here, you realize it here, and it's what tries to turn your airplane to the left.
Okay.
And then
That is gyroscopic precession.
And then P factor is when the propeller center of thrust is like relocated. That's what this says.
Keep reading.
That's like
At when when it's at a high angle of attack.
Okay.
so
Okay.
it's because of the
This is where you get the bite. You get a bigger bite down here and a less bite up here, causing it to want to do this. So you've got something wanting it to do this, something causing it here to do this, something behind it here wanting it to do this, and then you got one other thing. The fourth one. Slipstream. You've got the slipstream effect. This air circulates around this airplane and puts pressure on the vertical stabilizer here. When it does that, pushes the tail this way, nose goes that way.
Okay, so these are all the left turning tendencies.
Those are the four.
Okay, so there's four left turning tendencies. Each of them are caused by a different phenomenon.
Correct.
And these are like P factor, gyroscopic precession, slipstream. Those are all examples.
Correct.
Of what can cause it.
Correct. That is correct.
Does the quacker have, I mean not the quacker, the diamond have the thing on the back of the rudder that you can like bend to adjust?
Mhm.
Could you adjust that to make, so you don't have to put so much pressure on the right rudder?
You don't want to do that. You want it such that you don't have to put any pressure on the rudder in cruise. Because the problem is this. Your time to climb may be 10 to 12 minutes. Cruise could be for 3 hours. You want it such that your rudder in clean air is right down the longitudinal center line.
Never mind. I just understood. When carburetor heat is applied, the fuel-air mixture will enrich because there's less molecules, so there'll be more. The ratio will be greater.
Because you have more fuel, less air.
Yeah.
Because the air is warmer, therefore it's less dense.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Correct. How you guys doing? Okay. Guess what the big bulb man's having? I may crush one of these macaroons, but only after I have a donut. All right, I'm gonna have a macaroon. I'm gonna have.
I'll just have another.
Those are so good. Oh no. Diego, did you bring candy? Thank you, bud. Good job.
They've been enjoying them.
Good job.
The gummies are made with actual fruit.
You can see
Really?
Story
Yeah.
hates them.
That's good because none of those are real.
What other questions? Questions. If not, I'm gonna start pounding these.
Wait, now I have one. Your constant speed propeller. Can you just quickly constant pitch? Is that what the propeller is called?
Constant speed.
Which does not have a
Thanks for
constant
doing this.
It is. Okay, so here it is. Here it is. Constant speed is the same thing as variable pitch. Constant speed and variable pitch mean the same thing. Because basically what you're doing is you're setting an RPM on that airplane. That's kind of what you're doing. A manifold pressure and an RPM. That's what you're after. The variable pitch allows the blade angle to change, the blade angle itself at the hub, at the spinner, versus a fixed pitch, which does not.
Right. Oh, fixed pitches. Yeah, because when it says constant, I always get confused because I see constant first.
Yep.
But I got it RTFQ. You know what I mean? More than
I like where your head's at, girl. Okay, Steph.
Here in figure 62, we need to know that. Like the question is,
Did we cover that in class?
yeah, we did.
Yes, we did. So, yes, you do. All right, next. That, or I'm going to start hammering these.
yeah, I think that's all for now for me.
You may get others, and that's okay. Oh, poopy pants. What'd I do with it? Shoot. Doggone it.
Happy MLK Day. Martin Luther King Day. That's why we don't have school.
Happy I'm okay day.
MLK. MLK. It's his initials. He was a really cool man.
I have to pull my microphone away from my mouth because otherwise I get the drawing up. I'm sorry?
What? I'm from Texas. A what? I'm not. I'm making fun of the story.
All right. Here we go. What do we got?
Wait, are the questions going to be in the same order? Drag. A. Alpha.
Alpha A, liquid, thrust drag.
Story, you had a question?
Never mind. I figured out the answer, but I was just wondering if the questions were going to be in the same order for everybody's.
With this?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's going to be alpha.
That is correct. Lift, weight, thrust, drag.
Click on it, make it go green.
It doesn't go green because isn't it a practice quiz?
I'm just previewing it here, guys. This is what we're doing.
Oh, alpha.
Oh, wait.
Alpha again.
Yeah, alpha. I just that question I did. There we go.
Now, my God in heaven. This is so well.
Oh, there's napkins, yeah.
Okay, random. Now, here's the thing. This is an example of the most correct answer. Is it the correct answer? Why would it be false?
Because wouldn't they technically be in equilibrium when you're on the ground and not moving? No, because there's no work.
During straight and level, unaccelerated flight. That is the correct answer. What you're choosing is the most correct answer. What does the FAA tell you to do? What does the FAA tell you to do? Choose the most correct answer. Okay? So in this case, it is the least suckful of the ones that you have. Okay? So there we go. All right, next. Refer to figure 1.
Banana. I can see this figure in my head right now.
Barack Obama.
Alpha.
Are you kidding me?
Wait, I didn't even see this attack.
It's the angle of attack.
Angle A.
Yes.
Angle alpha.
Acute angle A is the angle of attack. So the correct answer is Bravo.
Wait, I have a question about this. It doesn't really pertain to this in any way, but it could be answered very quickly.
Okay.
Um,
No. Go ahead.
do all pilots use the same alpha, bravo, same letters? Because once I was flying commercially and the people
It's pilot talk. Okay. All right, here we go. When we get to communications, you'll learn not just the Z, Zulu. You'll learn the pilot phonetic alphabet, and you'll also learn how we say certain numbers when we get to communications. All right, here we go.
Alpha.
Yep, alpha. Not omega, just alpha.
Gentlemen, in the back, this is for you. What say you? You like it? I do too. Okay, that's alpha. Guys? Okay. Do you understand why that is correct? Okay. Now again, this should be in straight and level, unaccelerated flight to make this answer accurate.
Bravo. Wait, let me read it. Yep, bravo. Banana. Bravo, banana. Wait, yellow.
Brown banana.
I ate a brown banana this morning.
That's just icky.
That's disgusting.
I put it in a smoothie, so I couldn't tell.
You can tell.
You know, if you kind of take them like that and you sort of put them in like muffins or something else like that, you know, that may be okay. But yeah. All right, we good?
Wait. Bravo. Bravo. You guys aren't even reading the question. You just like answered.
Okay.
Bravo. There you go.
It's the angle of attack.
Well, then you are.
You guys got this?
Bravo. Yeah, you see, you memorized it.
No. Yeah.
It is
I
alpha.
I have that on my. I know he's going to that, so I have it on my computer.
Okay, let's do this. Let's just go with what we have up here. And that way our focus will be here. Okay, alpha.
Bravo.
Bravo. Wait.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo, you ate a brown banana.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay. It is bravo.
C. Charlie. Boom! I got it.
I prefer Carly, but that's just me. I
Charlie.
C. Charlie. Oh wait, I actually don't know.
Carly the Carly. Carly dates Charlie. It's gonna be like, I'm gonna see that and be like, oh yeah, Carly dates Charlie.
Okay. So, when that great big airplane taking off pulls up the gear, pulls up the flaps. So on departure, that's when those great big airplanes create the greatest vortices. Remember the story I told you about November 2001? An Airbus flying through the vortices of a 747. Ripped the vertical stabilizer off the airplane. Airplane broke up, was on the way to the ground, killed everyone on board and people in Queens.
Is it because when the airplane's going slow, it has the greatest effect on the air around it?
Because again, let's think about it. Heavy, clean, and slow. So, clean, heavy, slow. You're going to have a higher pitch angle. Here again, it's the greatest. You can read this here again. These demo questions are on Prepware. So these are up. It's open for you guys to look at and play with tonight. There's 134 of them. You can finish it. We're going to go till 6 o'clock. And then if you want to go home tonight and just look at these and just kind of grind through some of these questions, God bless.
If we submit it, will it submit to you and then we won't be able to go back through it again?
Probably. Yeah, I don't know.
Gonna be on the test because there's only 60.
Possibly.
So wait,
Possibly.
I'm not waiting.
Okay, buddy. All right.
Do not wait. But these are still fair game for the test. It's not like our previous quizzes where you're not going to put the same information.
I didn't say I wouldn't.
You said it would be a mistake.
I said if I do, it'll be by accident. Because it's just that's not my intention. I don't go back and pull your finals from the quizzes that you have taken. But I'll pull examples on there to kind of test your knowledge of the concepts. All right, so here we go. What do we got?
Hang on. Charlie and Carly, they're dating. Above and beyond, which is alpha. I just have to read through it because I'm a good student, Mr. R. I read the flipping question. Times 2.
Well done.
Here we go, guys.
Right? Oh, alpha.
Sorry, I'm in. It is alpha. Just 1 second, please.
Right, because the least amount of torque effect is produced under these conditions. Lower your speed or high power.
Because if you think about it, if the propeller's spinning faster, the engine's going to want to turn harder the opposite direction. So it's just wanting to turn your airplane over.
Increases with power, airspeed,
Have you made the final yet?
the effective torque is greater.
I don't make it until tonight. That's when I make it. I do it the day before. We had a situation a couple of years ago that was somewhat unfortunate, where somebody logged in using my credentials and pulled a final. So, yeah. Okay? Well, come to find out, this was the last straw for this particular person with computer stuff, because they had been doing some stuff at the high school as well. So,
How did they just hack into it?
not sure. So anyway, there you go. Okay, what do we got?
Oh, I know.
Wait, no, wait.
Charlie.
Wait, you know what?
I might be wrong. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. No, yeah, I'm right.
Well, there is waiting in this time. It's Carly and Charlie dating, okay? Whew, I need to.
Okay. Charlie is correct. Charlie is the correct answer.
And Carly.
Well, wait, can we wait until everyone's had the questions and go 1, 2, 3?
Can you show like only the
So it's
question
gonna take till 6 o'clock.
before we answer it so people don't just scream out?
I thought that's what I was doing.
It takes me a minute to read.
Just tell me when you're ready.
I'm not ready.
What is the end of that thing?
Oh. Ooh, I think I know this. It's the couple. I cracked myself up so hard.
Your oil's hot. Your cylinder heads are hot.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Because you're
Too much power.
yeah, you're overrunning your engines.
So what is it?
See, Charlie.
The couple, you know. Hey, the couple, that works. Charlie and Carly are a couple.
Okay, thank you.
Charlie.
Does that make sense? Okay. Remember, adding fuel cools the engine. But it'll also diminish the performance of the airplane depending on altitude. So, in this case, full power, trying to climb out too fast on a hot summer day, and then leaning too aggressively, stuff will get really hot. Let's let people read. We'll let people read.
I don't understand. But I know that the answer is Charlie.
Why?
No, because I know it.
Okay.
I've seen it so many times.
So remember, you can't sever the circuit if the ground wire is broken. If the ground wire is broken, you're still going to have a thing on here where your key is still going to work. So in order to close that circuit, the ground wire has to be connected.
Oh, because so the energy can go through the circuit. Oh, so I was always thinking that you wouldn't be able to turn it on because the circuit wouldn't be working.
The worst part about this is this, and the reason that you check this is because not only can you not turn it off if that ground wire is broken, but what's the worst part?
You might not notice it's a problem.
You might, let's just say if you're ready for a flight and you want to kind of, let's say you're out there and you're checking the propeller, but instead of checking the propeller in place, you turn the propeller. What could happen? It could start. It could start. Yeah, it could start.
So check this first.
This is why we always check these when on engine shutdown. In the Diamond, this is part of your checklist.
That'd be horrible.
So normally when you are in an aircraft, you would turn the switch to the off position instead of
So what you would do is this. No. What you would do is this. You just do an engine you do a mag check. You do a mag ground check. And what you do is you're idling at 1,000. This is when you're about to put the airplane away. You're just about to shut the airplane down. You've got it idling at 1,000. You're letting your airplane engine kind of cool off a little bit, at least mine. You're letting it cool off. You take the key, just momentarily flip it to the off position and back to both. And what you want is that when you flip it over to off, you want to hear blah, but then you catch it right back so that it stays on. Okay, so you don't shut the engine off with the key. How do you shut the engine off? With mixture. You reduce, you pull your mixture to closed, and you let it burn up all of the fuel that happens to still be in the cylinders. That's how you actually shut it off, then turn your key off. But we do that ground check to make sure that the wires are still intact, because it's not a matter of shutting your engine off, because you can still shut your engine off, right? Pull your mixture. But you don't want the engine starting unexpectedly.
So if the indication that would be wrong is you turn it to off and you don't hear like the
And it stays running.
yeah.
Yeah. Gavin.
And how is the ground wire in key hardening to fix?
No, it's not. And in fact, it's one of the things that ultimately some people will actually put a little bit beefier ground wire in there. And here's an example of this. And I'm just going to do this real quick. I want to go through more questions. But we have a ground wire to the alternator in the Diamonds. That little sucker is like a human hair. And what happens is that you still get a little vibration in there. And over time, it just, when the mechanic tightens it down, like they normally tighten things down, normally at that point right there where they tighten it down, over time, it just separates. Well, then, you have a problem. So what they do is they replace those with a little bit heavier gauge ground wire so that it doesn't tend to break. All right. Here we go.
No one's here.
I think I can't hear you.
RTFQ times 2. Formulate the answer in your head. Allow yourself to read all 3 answers. All 3 possible answers. Go with your gut. What you got? You guys got this? Okay. Guys got it?
No one say anything. Okay, so
You know what would be fun is if I made a series of cards with Alpha, Bravo, or Charlie, and you just take a card and you just kind of do this.
yeah, we could just make our own. That's a good idea.
Go ahead.
Yeah, 1 is A, 2 is B, 3 is C. Okay, that's fine.
It's whatever you want to do.
Yeah, these are
Okay, 1A, 2B, 3.
It's whatever you want to do. I just thought.
I think you really like your idea.
That's a good idea. We could do 1, 2, or 3.
Ready? And what you can do is you can just kind of, when you get them, you just kind of hold them up ear to your head, you know, kind of like, you know, well, no, not you guys, but, you know, or up here to your chest, you know, and you don't have to show them to anybody, but just to show that this is the one that you got. And then when I say, okay, go, and you turn them around and let's see what you got. Ready? RTFQ. Got him? Boys? Ready? What do you got? Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. Alpha is correct.
Oh, pull down.
I love this.
Oh wait, no. Oh, ha.
There. It was upside down backwards.
Charlie is correct. Charlie is correct.
Sorry. No, it's not. But I think it's this. I might be wrong. I'm gonna hold up both of these.
Oh, wait, not in the. Never mind. Wait. Yeah.
I thought she almost tried to flip me off right there. It's just like, which letter is that? I didn't think we were covering F.
Oh.
This is an example of what? That is correct.
I'm sorry, I was wrong. I said A first, and then I was like, wait, I thought it said increase the airspeed, and I was like, wait, no, back to A. So it's fine, we're good.
Because again, part of the thing is here is that of these options that you have, increasing your RPM with all things being equal, increasing your RPM is just going to add to the heat. And if you reduced airspeed, now all of a sudden you're getting less airflow over the cooling fins of your engine. So with this, remember, adding that gas can cool that engine.
This is goofy. Did you get it?
Maneuvering speed is VA. What is VA dependent on? What is VA dependent on?
You have flaps? No?
Why isn't it represented on your airspeed indicator? Because it depends on
The altitude, the density of the air.
The
weight,
weight of your aircraft.
And balance.
the weight of your airplane. That's what.
What's VLO again?
What is VLO? landing gear operation speed. Okay. You have VLE and VLO. So you can put your gear down. This is getting your gear up. Extension. VLO is like on takeoff, what speed do you have to stay under before so that you can get your gear up? No. No. What? Guys. Gotta go. We have 21 minutes. Okay? Just so you know, airlines use VLOF and they use VFC. We don't. Where would this be? Well, maximum flap extended speed.
Top of the white arrow.
Thank you. Okay. Read the question. Read the question.
That's landing operating.
There was one question that said, look at the acronym. Wait, yeah, wait, no, I'm
Landing
pretty
gear
sure
extended. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. Okay. Next. Remember the tricky one. Everybody remember the tricky one?
This is why this one's tricky. I could never exceed at first. I was like,
Is it C?
Normal operating, which means maximum structural cruising. That's never exceed. Where is this going to be on the airspeed indicator? Top of the green arc, bottom of the yellow arc. You can get into the yellow if you fly what? Smooth air only. That's the caution range. Then at the top of the yellow arc is a red mark. What is that? VNE. Okay. Well done. Now let's talk about that SO here story. This is between VSO and VS1.
yes, Steph in the house.
Is it B? I was gonna go with A, but then I convinced myself wrong. I'm not proud of that. I didn't know.
That is in the landing configuration. Landing. What is landing? Flaps and gear down. Okay, so full flaps, gear, anything like that, that's going to be VSO. And remember, VS1, that's a different configuration. VX or VY. One of them talks about a rate, one of them talks about an angle. One of them will get you over that mythical FAA 50-foot tree at the end of the runway. You guys ready?
Wait, no. Am I wrong?
Uh-huh. The X angle. It's the greatest gain in altitude over a distance. VY is the greatest gain of altitude over time. So let's look at this one here again. So when you look at your answers, you know you can discount which one summarily. You know that VA is not it because you know that that's maneuvering speed. Okay, that's gone. So now you're down to VX and VY. So as you look at that, this is the thing. Just remember, X angle. That's going to be a lower airspeed. You're really pulling. It's more difficult to fly, but it's getting you up and over. Greatest gain of altitude over a distance. That's how you get over that 50-foot tree. And rate, easier on your airplane, and over time, it'll give you the greatest gain of altitude. Easier on your airplane, easier to see, easier in so many. It's why. Why? Because we like it. Okay.
Depends on environment. Like if you're in Kansas, you can.
Depends on it.
Oh, I guess it depends on like vortices too. Like what you need.
It's primarily geographically dictated. So for instance, if you've got a short runway and you've got trees at the end of it, you got to get up and out. Beyond that, the rest of the runways out there are designed for you to take off at VY. Okay. This is just to ensure understanding. Oh, 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 oh. It was so close. Oh, she's sitting here giving me that, and I almost gave her, well.
Oh, look, I was looking at the next one. I'm sorry, I know it's.
All right, here we go.
Oh, fudge. Okay.
High and dry. You copied me.
Take a look. You dial your Colesman window to the airfield elevation. That's what you do. And assuming that your altimeter is working correctly, you're going to be good to go until you can pick up an altimeter setting as you're in your takeoff or your climb out. We have 13 minutes.
I think you are right. Why? Because I'm right, and I had the same answer as you, so. No.
Don't confuse yourself on this.
Did you see a second guess? That was the problem.
Yes.
Oh.
I'm putting this one on there because we talked about it.
Wait. No. Ooh. I don't know if I remember this, but let's take a whack at it.
I'm so confused.
That's a pretty good whacking. At 18,000 feet, you enter Class Alpha airspace. Class Alpha airspace is instrument airspace only. From 18,000 feet to 60,000 feet, that is Class Alpha. So you must be an instrument-rated pilot on an instrument flight plan with an aircraft that is certified for instrument flight.
Right.
At that point, you turn it to 29.92. Why do we do that? Thank you. Because if you were out there trying to keep up with all of your altimeter setting adjustments out there, you would just have one person who would do nothing but just spin that dial. That's all they do. It's impractical. And so if you put everybody up there, and if everybody's accepting those little variations, as kind of we go through, everybody is still good. Okay? The problem with that, lower than that, are these things that we have out here that you may get some snow on them at some point.
Cheers, matey.
I have no trouble spotting Diego's back there. He is just, he's there. Everybody understand? Girl, stay with us. Here we go. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Oh, I was saying answer A is correct. I was like,
What?
yeah, exactly. No, I'm correct.
Yep. And what happens is, again, the least suckful answer, because the problem is going to be is that you're still going to get an indication on your airspeed indicator. It's just not going to be right.
But you're gonna cross check and it's gonna be fine.
Thank you.
Oh, yep, we gotta learn these.
I got this. I can do this.
There we have this one. This one we are, well, okay. Okay, we good?
Hang on, wait.
Hold on.
No. Oh, shucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Darn it, I thought you were a good person. Bugger, banana.
True is MSL. True is MSL. AGL is above the surface. AGL or what? Oh, okay.
I got this one.
Whoa.
You whack job.
Okay. 8 minutes.
Come on, let's get it.
Remember the definition. Just for the record, A and B is an incorrect answer. Okay, no, Diego, I was just messing with you. Diego was kind of holding his paper like this, and he was trying to decide.
Are you kidding? You said that, I was like,
All right,
we know.
what is it? Density altitude is pressure altitude corrected for non-standard temperature. Density altitude, that is the one that we as pilots are the most concerned with, because that's what the airplane thinks it is out there. That's the altitude the airplane thinks it is. Doesn't matter what we think.
Wait, I can do this. I believe in myself.
7 minutes.
Time for ticking. 3, 2, 1. Hiya! Answer A is incorrect. Answer C is incorrect, so I was correct.
Is not correct.
Think about this. You set the altimeter to 29.92. That's the bar. That is standard. If it is less or greater than standard, you're going to show on your altimeter a higher or lower altitude. So you can factor that difference in with your non-standard temperature to come up. Thank you very much. Okay. Just go ahead and say C. Okay. All right. What is this? Okay, what is it? V. Thank you.
No, stop reading aloud.
Guys ready? Are you ready? I'm going to go ahead and say alpha.
That's a good guess.
Thank you.
That is a correct guess.
That is one big indicator. Why is that? Why? How is that? My goodness gracious. Hang on. Well, crap. Hold on. All right. See what you got there? We're leaving in 5 minutes. It's up to you. We're here till 6, guys.
Wait, did we just skip one? Oh.
Yeah, up to 208.
Charlie, what are you doing?
Got it? Everybody good? Now, this one I put on there by mistake, but it is an important one to know. This will not be on the test.
I know it too, but I need to think a lot longer to make sure I get it.
Is it B?
Yeah, I knew it was A.
121.5. I mentioned this briefly in passing in class. This is what we call the guard channel or the emergency channel of 121.5. The reason that it's important is that even if you're up there with an instructor, say your instructor has a heart attack, okay? And if you're not talking to somebody who is already on that radio right then and there, you need to get a hold of somebody. It's 121.5. In most cases, with flight following or on an instrument flight plan, you won't need this only because of the fact that you're already talking to somebody and they can help you. But if for whatever reason you have to call up somebody for that, it is 121.5. And the other thing that you do is that on cross-country flights over sparsely populated areas like through the desert and things, for instance, when we were doing cross-countries in New Mexico, one of the things that we would do is we would monitor 121.5 as we were flying along, just in case somebody was sending a signal. And the reason that we did that is because help is a long way away out there sometimes for that. And so we just kind of monitored 121.5. So just throwing that out. Probably have time for a couple more here. Ah.
Where is the darn letter?
I don't know. I was gonna say that actually.
With regard to certification of airmen, I'm talking men. What are classes of aircraft? Okay, so think about this. You get certified to fly what? Your airplane single-engine land, airplane multi-engine land, airplane single-engine C, airplane multi-engine C. So with these, if you look right there, those are classes of aircraft.
Well, now that we've had this difficulty, I'm certain that that will be on the final, so better nail that down.
Now then, with respect to certification of aircraft, which is a category of aircraft. I have A, I have A, I have B, I have B, I have B, I have A, or is that a 1? Is that an A or is that a 1?
Oh, category. Hang on. Category. There we go. A's here. A has arrived.
See, you know what? I knew that one. Okay. I did. Boom. It's like, what is that? You know?
Again, flashcards.
Wait, do people like who watch this take the final too online or no?
Do what?
Just watch it.
They're watching. They're just watching just to see kind of what we do, seeing how nutty we are.
Wait, do we have any people? I need more. Are there any like strangers watching?
We have 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. With respect to certification of aircraft, which is a class of aircraft.
It's not a raise your hand. Oh, wait, for you it is. Hang on. Okay. The A has returned. Because B and C are incorrect.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, no.
Oh, I know this one. This one is right in my head.
Last one. This is our last one.
Wait, technically all of these ones we've seen, so they can't be on the test.
Remember, this is correct. This is the nighttime definition. But it is not necessarily the definition with regard to what?
Like when you can have passengers for nighttime.
When it comes to recency of experience. When it comes to recency of experience, the definition is bravo. 1 hour after sunset, 1 hour before sunrise. All right, guys. There you go. Go home, get some sleep. I'll see you in the morning here at 8 o'clock.